Hello boys and girls. Today we are checking pages 429 to 430, numbers 7 through 19, skipping number 17. Before we get started, I really want to encourage you to write our order of operations somewhere on your paper. This makes it a whole lot easier to visualize and to help you when you get stuck. Remember, here is the order that we should follow. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division from left to right, whichever comes first. Addition, subtraction from left to right, whatever comes first. The little saying we use to help us remember this order is please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Let's look at numbers 7 through 12 first. Please pause the video and check your answers to these problems. If you got all of these correct, go ahead and fast forward to number 13 right now. If you made any mistakes, I really want to remind you, use these order of operations listed somewhere on your page to help. Let's start with number 7. I do not see any parentheses in number 7. I do not see any exponents. However, I do see multiplication or division. Specifically, I see division. So I'm going to start with that. 63 divided by 9 is 7. It helps me to write that right on my paper. Now I can focus on the rest of my problem, which is minus 2. 7 minus 2 is 5. Number 8. I do not see any parentheses. I do not see any exponents. I do not see multiplication or division. However, I do see addition and subtraction. Remember, addition and subtraction I do in order from left to right. So here, I'm going to do subtraction first. 7 minus 5 is 2. The rest of my problem is plus 8. 2 plus 8 is 10. Number 9, I do not see any parentheses. I do not see any exponents. I do see multiplication and division though. Specifically, I see multiplication. So I'm going to do that first. 3 times 6 is 18. The rest of my problem is minus 2. 18 minus 2 is 16. Number 10, I do not see any parentheses. I do not see any exponents. I do see division though. So I'm going to do this first. 64 divided by 8 is 8. The rest of my problem is 80 minus, so it's 80 minus 8. 80 minus 8 is 72. Number 11, I do not see any parentheses. I do not see any exponents. I do see multiplication though, so I'm going to do that first. 3 times 4 is 12. The rest of my problem is plus 6. 12 plus 6 is 18. Number 12, I do not see any parentheses. I do not see any exponents, but I do see multiplication and division. Remember, I do multiplication and division from left to right, whichever comes first. So in this problem, multiplication comes first. So I'm going to multiply first. 2 times 7 is 14. The rest of my problem is divided by 7. 14 divided by 7 equals 2. Here are the answers for 13 through 16. Please take a moment to check your answers now. If you got them all correct, you may jump ahead to number 18. Remember, we skipped 17. When I was doing numbers 13 through 16, it really helped me to reference my order of operations. So I kept looking back at that and I tried to think about which operation I would be doing first and which operation I would be doing second. So if you didn't do that when you were doing these problems, remember, you must go in order. The first operation you do is not necessarily the first operation listed. When I look at number 13, I see that I have addition and I have multiplication. According to my order of operations, multiplication comes first. So I know I'm going to be multiplying first. When I look at my numbers, I could multiply 2 times 6, that equals 12. I could multiply 2 times 5, that equals 10. I could multiply 6 times 5, that equals 30. But my answer is 16. It's not really going to make sense to do 6 times 5 is 30 when I have an answer of 16. So let's guess and check. Let's do 2 and 6 first. 2 times 6 is 12. If I add 5 to that, that brings me to 17. Ugh, that's close, but not the answer I want. So I'm going to erase, and I'm going to check again. I did 2 and 6. Let's try doing 2 and 5. 2 times 5 is 10. If I add the 6, 6 times 10 is 16. Aha, that's the answer I want. So this is the correct answer. Number 14, I see subtraction and I see division. According to my order of operations, I am going to divide first. So whenever I look at my numbers, I cannot divide 12 and 18 into each other. So I know I'm either going to divide 12 by 4 or 18 by 4. But wait, 18 divided by 4, I can't do that either. So that should have been your first step. You should have realized my division should be 12 divided by 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. Whenever I check this, I used 4, I used 12. 18 minus 3 is in fact 15, which is the answer I want. So there we go. There is our answer. Looking at number 15, I have multiplication and I have subtraction. According to my order of operations, I'm going to multiply first. Now I see this one's going to be a little bit trickier because I'm subtracting, so I'm going to have a larger number, should be larger than 47, and then I'm going to subtract from it. So it's okay if I multiply two numbers together and it's over 47. So I don't know, let's just start with 8 and 9. 8 times 9 is 72. If I subtract 7, the answer is 65. That is not what I want. I'm going to try again. Whoops. I'm going to try again. This is all about guessing and checking and revising your answer if you need to. So I know I'm not multiplying 8 and 9 together. Let's try multiplying 7 and 8, or 8 and 7. Doesn't matter which order because it's the commutative property. So 7 times 8 is 56. When I subtract 9, because I used the 7 and the 8, if I subtract the 9, 56, minus 9 is 47. That is the answer we want. Number 16, I see division and I see addition. I know division is going to come first. So whenever I look at my numbers, I can't divide 9 by 2 or 9 by 4. So it should be pretty obvious that we're going to divide 4 by 2. Those are the only two numbers that divide evenly into each other. 4 divided by 2 is 2. My other number is 9. If I add 9 to that 2, my answer is 11. Okay, please pause the video right now to check your answer for number 18. You may fast forward to number 19 if you had something along the same lines as me. Remember, our wording probably is not going to be exactly the same, and that's okay. When I was looking at number 18, I realized the only thing that was changed in these two problems was the 8 and the 3 were flip-flopped. I still see 4 and then an addition sign in both of the problems, 4 and addition sign. I'm still multiplying 3 and 8 together. The order is just flipped. So you could have taken the time to actually do these problems, but you didn't have to do that. If you realized that this was just the commutative property, you didn't have to do any of the math here. It's okay if you did though. Let's see. Let's start with the first one. 8 times 3 is 24. 4 plus 24 is 28. Same thing over here. 3 times 8 is 24. 4 plus 24 is 28. You could have absolutely done that, but you could have also realized that this is just the commutative property. Please take a minute right now to pause the video and check your answers for number 19. If you had these answers, you may stop the video now, look on the board, and start your next activity. The most helpful thing when doing these order of operation problems is to list your order of operations and reference them each time. When I look at 19A, the first thing I'm going to do is divide. 24 divided by 3 is 8. 8 plus 5 is 13. That is true. For 19B, the first thing I will do is I will multiply, not add. I multiply first because that comes before addition in my order of operations. 2 times 3 is 6. 5 plus 6 is 11. That's not what's listed here. 21 is listed here. That is false. If you got 21, you forgot about the order of operations, and you did 5 plus 2 is 7, and 7 times 3 is 21. You must multiply first. 19C, the first thing we will do is divide because that comes before subtraction in my order of operations. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 15 minus 1 is 14. That is true. 19D, I see division and multiplication. Remember, I do multiplication and division in order from left to right because division comes first, listed here. I'm going to divide first. 18 divided by 3 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. That is true. Nice job today, third grade. You may look up on the board for your next activity.